I coach lots of budding entrepreneurs, and I love observing the stages that they go through on their entrepreneurial journey, and I love helping them observe some of the emotions and the thoughts that they have that can seem perfectly natural to them, but really it's their brains trying to sabotage them. Now let me give you an example of that. And I use this example quite a lot because it's a really easy metaphor to use. If you were, for example, cold calling, in other words, picking up the phone and dialing people, you are likely to get, when you first start it, particularly if you've not had any experience in it or you haven't got a technique on how to do it, you're going to experience a lot of negativity, and your brain will tell you pretty quickly in that process that this isn't working, cold calling doesn't work, and it's not something that you should be doing. And most people, as a result of that, end up questioning whether this is a good thing to do, whether people pick up the phone these days, is it effective in this day and age, etc., etc. Well, the truth is that cold calling is still a very good way of actually generating clients, particularly in your digital marketing business. But you do have to persevere and you do have to learn certain techniques. Now, the reason that our brain says to us this isn't working is because our brain is actually designed to protect us. And this goes right back to our evolution. And when we were cavemen and we were in mortal danger quite often, our brain evolved to give us fear, to protect us from what could be a saber-toothed tiger about to attract us. A good example of this is, the fear of the dark. The fear of the dark is something that's involved in humans because back in the days when we were cavemen, going out in the dark was very dangerous because we could get attacked by nighttime predators. So our brain still operates in this way as it protects us from the things that it thinks we need protection from. But the truth is, when we're getting told no on the phone, or if we are doing a repetitive task that's supposed to lead to our success that doesn't appear to be getting any results, we're not going to get eaten, we're not going to die. But the fear that we feel is exactly the same. It's exactly the same fear. In fact, it was really quite amusing to me when I first realized that when my mortal fear of public speaking was actually the same fear chemically in my brain as the fear of dying. And that's why there's a great book you should read, I've mentioned it a few times, by Peter Roper, and Death Came Third, is that public speaking is the most fearful thing that people actually fear. And that fear is a genuine fear, so it shouldn't be mocked, it shouldn't be belittled. Our brain can't tell the difference. And so effectively, if we want to be super successful entrepreneurs, if we want to do the things that are going to help us achieve success, most of those things put us outside of our comfort zone, and our brain will question as whether they are the right thing to do, because nearly all of them are not going to get immediately seeable results. You're not going to be able to quantify them straight away. Let's use the cold calling example again. If I make 100 dials and I don't book any appointments, my brain's going to tell me that cold calling doesn't work. However, if I dial them another 100 times and some of the people that saw my number the previous time now see me ringing again and answer the phone and then allow me to book an appointment, and then I close a deal with them, that initial set of dials that I did, that my brain told me you shouldn't be doing this, it doesn't work, give up, were the reason I made the sale on the second batch. This is part of the pipeline theory. And when we are prospecting in business, especially for a digital marketing agency, and you've got your pipeline and you're filling up your pipeline with prospects, you can do an awful lot of work and that pipeline can be filled up with prospects, but at the bottom you could get 0 sales. But if you persevere and you persist and you fill up that pipeline, and then as a result of all that work, finally some business pops out the bottom, you get yourself a customer. That customer didn't happen in isolation. It happened because of all the work that you put into the pipeline previously. All that work that at the time you were doing it, your brain was saying, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, because there were no actual tangible results that you could see. But the results were there, they were just hidden in your pipeline, and you have to put the work in order to get the sale to drop out the bottom of your pipeline. There's a fantastic metaphor that's really famous in the business world, and I recommend you can do a little Google search now, and you could look this up in Google Images, and it is the metaphor of the miner that's digging for gold, and he digs a great big hole, and that hole is huge, and he puts in loads of work. He goes through many shovels and pickaxes, he works his fingers to the bone, and he's got zero gold to show for it. And he's at the stage where he thinks, I'm going to give up. But then when you pan away and you see the plan view of the hole that's been dug, and you see all that work that he's put in, he's an inch away from a seam of gold that's going to give him all the riches in the world. And yet, at that point, he's got zero to show for it, other than broken pickaxes and calluses on his hands. And yet he's just a few more pickaxe swings away from all the riches in the world. And it's just the same with so many things in business. That metaphor I see over and over again. And it's why when I'm coaching people, and when my team at Blam are coaching digital entrepreneurs that are working on their agencies, that I remind them, you may not be seeing the immediate results. You may not be able to see those tangible things as a result of all the work that you've put in, but they are there. And you have to trust the process and keep on pushing, because it's the reason most people give up too soon is because they're looking for results too early. And the truth is, you have to refine your skills, you have to be consistent and disciplined and do the work that brings success over and over again. There is no such thing as an overnight success. And the gold miner who was digging away, if you just watch those last few swings, you'd think it was easy digging for gold. But then if you look at all the work that goes into getting into that huge hole in the first place, and every single swing of that axe, he never knew whether or not he was going to ever actually hit the seam of gold. That's just like running a business. You have to have faith. You have to trust the process. You have to make sure you've got a process that you know is proven, and you need to be consistent and disciplined. And I see it over and over again, and that's why, going right back to the beginning of this video, when I'm coaching people, when I'm helping entrepreneurs, I remind them about this. I help them understand their brain is going to make them feel like giving up. Their brain is going to tell them, stay safe, don't keep doing this, you're wasting your time, and it's going to be talking in the back of their head. That's just our caveman brain, our pre-programming, trying to keep us safe. But we don't live in caveman times anymore. We don't have to worry about saber-toothed tigers. We have to worry more about the pre-programming in our brains that's going to sabotage our success. And it's really, really key to understand these things to help you get past these roadblocks that your brain's going to send out to you. I hope you found that helpful. I hope you found it motivating. I hope it's going to help you push through those barriers, because these are the kind of things that they don't tell you at school. They're not going to tell you at university, and not a lot of entrepreneurs mention it to you either. So keep pushing, keep achieving or striving for success. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.